basically it's a 14 kilogram paver and a little over 12 kilograms is glass, and the rest is a bit of cement to bond it. So we make a paver that's 450 by 450, has a unique sort of finish with the glass, very strong as well. It's twice as strong as normal concrete. And so we here make them here.
Right, with a concrete mixer, like
with a concrete mixer, a bit of cement, and we make them into moulds.
Yep, are all made with recycled product apart from a little bit of cement to hold it all together.
That's right.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
Looking forward to putting them around the eco house.
Great.
Fantastic day today. We've got some windows at long last. It's been a 2-month delay. Heaps of dramas with some of the subcontractors. The painting contractor turned out to be an absolute nightmare. He was sent a paint sample 2 months ago, never used the paint sample. Of course, the windows arrived and it all hit the fan. So the clients have been hellishly frustrated. So have we. The builders haven't been able to close the house in, which means all the other work has been held up. Sparkies can't come to site, plumbers can't come to site, and that's mainly because we don't want those expensive fittings in the house with it open to the elements and people wandering past. So 2-month delay, got the windows in this week, couple more to arrive. Things are looking really good.
The original date to move in was March 2013, which I never really believed. I know that every build takes longer than expected, so I was pleased that we got an offer for, or a timeline for May, end of May, and that did not work out, and we didn't know that in the beginning, so I took on a job over here in Martinborough. My wife still lives in Wellington, works over there, but then it got delayed, and the worst thing is the windows, and that the building cannot be closed.
So with the ongoing problems with the timber joinery, Metro Glass Tech, who supplied all the glass to the house, were really accommodating and moving the installation date out numerous times over 2 months. They were happy to move the dates to suit the needs of our program. Now Metro Glass Tech have installed glazing that is the top end of the industry with triple glazing and low E glass, which really helped for the success of the windows and their function.
I do hope September is the time for us to move in. I'm really looking forward to being here, yes.
We had another week delay with the hardware. It arrived from Australia, unpackaged the boxes, it was all wrong, had to go back. So, as I say, 8 weeks in and we finally got the windows delivered, but couldn't be happier. Rolls-Royce quality fittings. So we've just put the hot water cylinder in, and it's been a long time coming. The two important things for me on the cylinder front is, one, that fits through the hole, and two, that the tower's tall enough to take the height of the cylinder and the amount of pipes and things that need to go around the outside of it. So from the cylinder there was a whole bunch of plugs and bungs on the side. The two important things to remember is, one is for the solar hot water to come in from the solar panels, and the one at the bottom is for the wetback from the log burner. So winter time we're using the log burner, summertime we're using the heat from the sun to warm the water on the solar panels. This one you'll see had a big green wrap around it, and it was super insulated, so we're not losing any heat from it. And a domestic water cylinder wouldn't necessarily have a port for the wetback. So we've put a wetback one in combined with a solar ready one. There is a life change involved in that fact that they have to rely on the sun to heat the water, or they have to rely on the log burner to get the thing up to temperature to heat the water. So if the cylinder runs dry, you're not going to have a lot of hot water in a hurry. You're going to have to wait for the water to be reheated. And the wintertime heat is going to come from the log burner, obviously, with very little sun, and the summertime, especially in Martinborough, will have ample water for everything they need to do. We've got this fabulous New Zealand designed and built woodsman fireplace, and it's designed and built down south, and a guy called Richard Harris has helped us along the way to figure out what the best solution is for this particular house in this particular location. Now this particular model is called a Taurus, and from memory it's about 22 kilowatts. Now that's, for the average person, that's 5 times more efficient than a heat pump. Now it's oversized for the house. It could actually heat a house probably 3 times the size of this, but given that it's so cold in Martinborough and obviously the only source of heating, we thought we'd put in something a lot more durable. Now Peter Jackson Plumbing have installed some copper piping into the wall behind us, and the theory behind it is the hot water is heated from the log burner, it gravity fed up into the roof space and enters into our hot water cylinder.
Just had it running for a little while. There's still a few little coals there left, and in the short time that it was running, the cylinder's gone up 5 degrees. We've run it to just check that the wetback is circulating. The pipes at the back of the fire are about the same temperature as up by the cylinder, so we know that these pipes are circulating correctly. If it was very hot behind the back of the fire, we would know that there's a pocket, an air bubble or something that's stopping the circulation, meaning that we would have a collection of hot water behind the fire, but the heat's not getting into the cylinder. But the back of that fire is the same temperature as what's going into the cylinder. So we've got an excellent circulation between fire and cylinder up in the tower.
I spoke to Eric the plumber earlier about positioning the solar panels on the roof for the water heating, and we talked about putting them right in the middle of that piece of roof there. But I'm conscious of the fact that you might want to add some photovoltaic panels later on if you decide that you need a bit more capacity. So we've got a certain distance off the tower, so we're not casting any shadows on the panels. But what are your thoughts? Do you think you'd add some panels on there later if the need be?
Yeah, I think we would do that if we need, so if they can take the panels out as far as possible.
Yeah. Well, there's two ways of looking at it. From an architect's perspective, the aesthetics are really important, but on this house, the actual functionality of the house is even more important. If the windows don't work, the house is drafty, the house becomes really cold. So the function is actually driving the form of this building, and you've got to have really good quality fittings, you've got to have good tradesmen, otherwise the thing doesn't work. And pouring the best part of $500,000 into something that doesn't work is not a successful project.
The owner's involvement has been great. They've been here pretty much every week. They've got quite a lot of waxing and blonding of the timber to do. So every blonded piece of timber you see in the house has been done by Sue and Matthias. We've got a lot on the board today. We've got quite a lot of things happening over the next 2 weeks, but we've got tons happening today. We've got the most important is probably the granite bench tops are arriving today. They've been templated about a week ago. Another 3 or 4 days in the factory, coming from Kapiti, and we're trying to work around that, so we've got a clear run for them to come in this morning. We've got the solar panel guys arriving shortly, so they're installing the photovoltaic panels on the roof, which will then run to batteries to provide all the electricity we need. We're on track now to have all the interior finished in the next 2 weeks. We've got a little bit of site works to do outside. Our recycled pavers are going in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The cabinets themselves we've worked through with Matthias to get the storage right, the drawers right, and we've built the kitchen on site because we wanted to minimise the amount of travel time and componentry built off site. And the quality of the materials is really important. We've used a bit of recycled content, but most of it's plywood. They've used granite as the benchtop material. It is imported, and it might be seen that it's not the best solution for travel miles, but granite being natural from the earth, it's going to last another 100 years in the house. So we'll use a product that's got huge durability. Because Matthias is a chef, it's going to suit the purpose for which it's going to be applied.
So the granite bench top's being made in actually 4 pieces, that being the heaviest. It must have weighed about 300 kilos. They'll piece it all together and they'll glue it and silicone all the joins. Accumulation of about 5 days work, and about 2 hours will be all finished. By cleaning the mud away and all the dirt, the floor will be sealed with a Peter Fell product, which will potentially leave the floor looking like this. And we've found a shed full of elm, which has been drying for a number of years, and we've brought it to site and we're actually making the door joinery out of it. And in its natural form, it's pretty rough and it's got a few knots and things in it. And it's quite labour intensive, and the boys have done a fabulous job on dressing it all up. But a finished piece is sanded and it looks like that. We go through and we actually oil it. So something that's been in the area for the 140 odd years has been reused, recycled and made into some fabulous pieces of joinery.